Okay, so let's start with the Unit 4 study guide. I presuppose that you will have read all of the general information and reviewed whatever information is also provided in the syllabus with respect to the test for this class. One thing that I want to iterate is that below the link to this video, you will find a link to 2 more videos. In those videos, I go over the information on page 2 of the study guide. The information on when I start to go over the information on page 2 of the study guide, I might go back up here and say that I forgot something, but I'm actually revising this page 1 video here. So if in the second or third video for this test prep, you see me or hear me say something about page 1, please ignore any references to page 1 in the second or third video for this test prep. This video tells you everything you need to know about what is conveyed to you about the Unit 4 test. So let's go ahead and review these items here. As you know, I'm constantly having you review and keep fresh in your mind important points with respect to intellectual virtue. The reading via soft talk lessons, the soft talk lesson that you did during Unit 1. So again, I already went over in previous test preps what you need to focus on from that part of that lesson. Again, a copy of the lesson is provided in the document. Keep in mind what I said in the last 2 test prep videos, what sections to focus on. Keep in mind that the table with the names of the particular intellectual virtues, definitions, and concepts will not be enough to deal with all of the intellectual virtue focused items in this test, just as was the case for the last test. However, there will be 2 or 3 items that draw directly from the soft talk module on intellectual virtue. So more on intellectual virtue Unit 2 lessons. So you should have notes that you took while following videos from the test, from the prep for the Unit 3 test. So I'm not going to repeat that information here, provided you followed all of the instructions, reviewed all of the previous videos I had linked you to for the Unit 3 test prep. You have everything you need for the Unit 4 test. What will be new for the Unit 4 test will be that I will have added 1 or 2 lecture videos with respect to intellectual empathy and maybe intellectual perseverance. I think that actually I focus mostly on intellectual perseverance, so don't panic if you don't see or find new lectures on intellectual empathy. I'm just now remembering that I might have changed ultimately what I gave you in Unit 4. So again, you might not see any new videos on intellectual empathy. You might just see a video in Unit 4 for intellectual perseverance. And that's all so just keep that in mind. So of course you need a clear, accurate, and precise understanding of information and insights provided in any video-based lectures. So recall that I posted some study questions below any intellectual virtue video links to help you focus on what you need to know and gain in terms of being assessed in a given test. All right, so at this point, you might want to pause the video and work on prepping for this part of the test. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to philosophy in general. So this is a little part of like a little comprehensive part of the exam in terms of the semester as a whole. As you can see, there will be matching, multiple choice, fill in the blank, and true false. I've noticed that students who tend to get the lower grades tend to leave blank or give very, for lack of a better word, strange answers to fill in the blank. And my hunch is that fill in the blank are always tied to some either lecture about intellectual virtue or a lecture I did while going through a section of the study guide. So please make sure that you are paying close attention to what I say in any video that I post, especially when it comes to items that might be fill in the blank. All right, so you will need to know the main definition I gave you in 1 of 2 video lectures on the announcements page. And when I say the main definition, I mean the main definition for the word philosophy. Notice that I say that it is 1 of 2 videos on the announcements page. At the beginning of the semester, I posted 2 videos that you were supposed to follow. One was an introduction to the course in philosophy. The other was an orientation on how to get started successfully on the course and Unit 1 in your first task, your first set of tasks. So you'll want to find the video. I believe it's the first video. At some point, I give you a very concise definition of philosophy. This will either be in the form of a multiple choice or a fill-in-the-blank item. So make sure you review that definition. Again, please make sure you're prepping for this. There's a lot that you can do to make your way through the test, which is timed. So that's that. Branches, questions, foci of the discipline by unit, by reading assignment. So I might ask you as a fill-in-the-blank, for example, during Unit 2, we focused on the branch of, and you have to know what I mean by branch. And actually, following the first video that I posted at the beginning of the semester, the first of 2 videos, will actually help you with this as well. Just keep in mind that in that video, I might not provide an initial introduction to any branches or questions in the order we actually covered. So you want to listen to that video, take notes, but then also look at the first Smart Book reading that you did in Chapter 1 for Unit 1. That's where you get an initial introduction to some of the questions and branches in philosophy. When it comes to this test, you only need to focus on the branches that we focused on during Units 2, 3, and 4. That said, another helpful place, a third resource that you should use in preparing for this part of the test is the actual course schedule. Within each unit entry, at some point in the entry, somewhere in the little outline for each unit, I actually either mention the name of the branch or I use the adjective form of the name of the branch. So for example, I might say we explore ethics, or we explore ethical concerns. Just make sure that if I ask, especially if it's fill in the blank, if I ask for the name of the branch, that you give me the noun version of the word that names the branch. Do not give me the adjective form of the word that gives me the branch. Now, depending on the sentence construction of the fill-in-the-blank item, you might need to give me the adjective form. So for example, I might say, we asked blank questions we explored blank questions during Unit 2. Give me the name, and then the fill-in-the-blank item there might be, Unit 2, epistemological. Okay, so you got to look at the syntax of the sentence to see, do I want the noun version of the branch or do I want the adjective version of the branch because it's describing something like questions or foci or a problem or a theory or even an argument construction. Make sure you're clear on which of your argument constructions from task through of Unit 1 are associated with a particular branch or associated with a particular question. So I might ask you, for example, this could be fill in the blank, multiple choice, true, false, but it might be something getting at, are you aware of the kinds of questions related to your item 2 argument? So I might give you a multiple choice that might say, with which argument construction are the following questions most closely related? So then I might have a list of questions, and you're going to have to realize that the questions have mostly to do with your second argument construction. So look at your argument constructions, look at the wording in your conclusion, compare that to what you see in the course schedule and what I mentioned as the branch of focus in Units 2, 3, and 4. Of course, you can always go to the reading associated with that. What branch was the focus? You can see that in the chapter title. You get a sense of it, but you can always look at the introductory section for each chapter that we covered respectively in Units 2, 3, and 4. So this is really big, broad strokes right here. And again, it could come in any of these formats. I guarantee there will be plenty, or at least some fill in the blank and some multiple choice, and we'll see about true, false, and matching. Okay, so that said, I recommend that you stop and prepare for this part of the test. If you do not wish to stop, of course, you can continue with this video. I'm going to go ahead and proceed. So here we have more on ethics, the usual kinds of test items. I forgot to insert the SMART pages here, but the SMART pages will be from, let's see, what is this? I don't know why they cover that page right there. See, I can't move it around. I think this is 413. Let's check, yeah. Or maybe it's 410. Okay, so yeah, it's basically 410 to, you don't need that right there, 410 to 423. Okay, so 410 to 423 is going to be the set of pages, section 5.0, overview of ethics. That is the focus of this part of the study guide. So you can write the page numbers there now. So know the name of the branch, the main concept for said branch, other things emphasized in video for the study guide. So not only will I ask you possibly for the name of the, okay, so yeah, so this kind of goes with this over here, right? So I might ask you for the name of the branch that we covered during Unit 2. I might ask you for the name of the branch that we covered, that we focused on during Unit 3, and of course Unit 4. You have to know that the official name for the official branch covered during the Unit 4 curriculum is ethics. The main concept for said branch. So I go over the main concept for said branch. I told you what the main focus is in that first video that I posted in the announcements page when the semester was just starting and I was introducing you to the discipline. So go ahead and make sure you take a look at that. A clue is that one word starts with R and another word starts with W, and so it's a two-word answer, but it's not a phrase, so it's blank and blank. So there's two words that name important concepts that have to do with the branch that I want you to be able to remember. So that's very important as well. And now that I'm thinking about it, when I say foci, I mean what's the main concept for a given particular branch? What is the main focus? What are two or three words or one word that really captures the meaning of the branch? If I ask you for the main concept of epistemology, I'm looking for one word. If I look for the main concept of metaphysics, I'm looking for two words. If I'm looking for the main concept of ethics, technically I'm looking for two words, but they're separated by the word and, but I would supply that for you or set up the question such that you don't need to worry about the word and. Okay, so let's see. Name of the branch, main concept. Okay, so we've got that. Do I want to say anything else about that? Okay, so you need to know some basic things about the story of Glaucon and Gyges' ring, just issues and questions that arise to really make sure you understand and have the full insight needed for the test. You should definitely read through, again, Scouting the Territory, Why Be Moral. Read Lawhead's introduction to that. Let me actually go back up here. So we have that. Okay. It is within this discussion of Glaucon and Gyges' ring that Lawhead introduces you to the concepts of prescriptive and normative ethics. So that is right here where he discusses prescriptive and normative ethics. He also tells you, gives you a definition for ethical theories. So know what he means by ethical theories. How does he describe it? Notice the examples that he gives you for what is meant by normative ethics and prescriptive ethics and whatnot. So very important. You're going to use the very first section of this introduction, what is ethics, under what are the issues. So then continue to read through here. This is where you're going to get a little bit of information about the link between ethics and religion. Chances are very likely that you're going to get some true, false, or multiple choice to make sure you understand what you need to know about any, if there is any, overlap, alignment, or interconnection between religion and ethics, insofar as philosophy is concerned, insofar as Lawhead's take on philosophy is concerned, insofar as Lawhead's thinking is concerned. Okay, so again, here we've got, okay, so I'm trying to decide what do I want to introduce you to next. So let's just go through the reading a little bit more. So continue to reread through this. Here you see some attention to divine command theory. Here you can see I have, okay, so yeah. So then after you read about prescriptive and normative ethics, and this, by the way, he might mention it at the very beginning of section 5.0, but he goes into more detail about it later in the reading. Just know that even though this might come at the very beginning and then the stuff might come next, you might need to take some more notes about this here later in the reading when and if he revisits it in the reading. So as you can see, here's the divine command theory on page 413. So make sure you understand stuff about that. Continuing on, we're going to keep going on page in Plato's Euthyphro. Okay, so then we get, hold on just a second here. Okay, it's just double checking something. So then in the study guide, you see something about the Euthyphro. So around page 414 is where you see information about the euthyphro, so make sure you take a look at that. There's a very good chance that you, somewhere in the test, you're going to need to know information that is right here for sure. Lawhead raises some questions and he connects those questions to particular issues or problems. Make sure that you remember what those questions are or can find the questions in the reading, and make sure that you know beforehand what issue or problem the questions either point to or reflect. And there's two sets of issues or questions. They're interconnected, but each issue or problem has its own specific questions, either that it points to or arises from. All right, so what else do we have here? Just issue questions that arise. So yeah, so everything I went over just the last few minutes covers this bullet point right here. Now notice that I skip here. So here, this is 5.0, generally speaking. Okay, and I gave you the page numbers for that. And here you can see in the last main bullet that I have 5.0. But in between the first, second, third, and fourth bullets, which are 5.0, and the fifth bullet, which is 5.0, I have 5.3. Okay. The reason is that I disagree with how Lawhead organizes the information here within his chapter on consequentialism. So I think he should have introduced these basic categories of theory in 5.0, and instead he embeds them within a particular theory. But these are general categories of theory, so why he's embedding it when he's already discussing a particular kind of theory is baffling to me. So I consider this more general information, more of an overview of ethics. But you'll have to go to 5.3 to get this, and this will be at the beginning of section 5.3. So you're going to find this under utilitarianism. Just understand that not all of these terms are directly related to or capturing utilitarianism, or I should say consequentialism. So let's just take a quick look at that. Okay, so the section is called utilitarianism. I couldn't remember if he had a section called consequentialism, where he covered both ethical egoism and utilitarianism, but he does have a separate section for utilitarianism, one that is separated from the other consequentialist theory, ethical egoism. So when it comes to the part of the study guide on page 1 that I'm focused on right now, he introduces some general categories of theory, like I said, within a particular kind of theory, which I think is weird. So here's where you'll find the terms that I was going over right now. So it starts on page 464, and then it goes through page 565. So what I'm talking about is this information right here. Okay. All right. So then back to section 5.0. And he gives you an introduction to 7 theories. I might give you a question that asks you which theories did we focus on. That could be multiple choice, or it could be true-false, a set of true-false, or it could be fill in the blank. So which theories did we focus on as first described in section 5.0? He introduced you to 7 theories, but then we only focused on 3. So which 3 did we focus on? Know the big ideas just from section 5.0. So when it comes to the theories themselves, we're going to focus only on 3 in this test, just as you focused only on 3 in the reading after section 5.0. There will be questions on the test that pull strictly from the initial introduction to the theories. And of course, those big ideas in those initial introductions are reinforced for 3 of the theories that we focused on in the later sections in said chapter. So know the big ideas of each of the 7 theories and be able to know whether a claim or statement is saying something true or false about either a theory itself with respect to a big idea, or when comparing or contrasting one theory to another. So any 7 of these theories could be compared to each other. So I might say A is like B in terms of property X, true or false. Or I could even say all 6 theories do not believe in X, while one theory believes in Z, true or false. So you've seen some of those already in the previous test. You know what those statements look like. They tend to be true, false. I might also do some multiple choice items where I create a scenario and then you have to tell me, using the big ideas, who would most likely draw a particular conclusion. So I might have like even an argument or a conclusion, and you have to use the wording in the prompt, the multiple choice setup or prompt, for example, or the true false prompt setup, or the wording in that to make select the best answer for a given item. So that's all I have for you for page 1. Make sure you follow the videos for page 2, keeping in mind what I said earlier in this video, that when it comes to the other 2 videos, the ones for page 2, you might see me go back up to page 1, but you are to ignore anything I say in those videos about page 1. I've already given you everything you need to know for your version of this test.